Hello students, in previous lecture we have discussed about natural resources. In that we have completed natural resources in which the first was forest resource, the second was land resource and the third was water resource. Now in this lecture we will discuss about another source of energy, that is energy resource. Energy resources. Energy scenario. Energy is a key input in the economic growth, and there is a close link between the availability of energy and the future growth of a nation. Power generation and energy consumption are crucial to economic development. In India, energy is consumed in a variety of forms, such as fuel wood, animal waste, and agricultural residues are the traditional sources of energy. These non-commercial fuels are gradually getting replaced by commercial fuels such as coal, petroleum products, natural gas, and electricity. So here we can see energy is a key input in the economic growth of any country. Or we can say there's a close link between the availability of energy and the future growth of a nation. Power generation and energy consumption are the basic needs, or we can say are inevitable parts of economic development of any of the nation. In India, we are consuming energy in variety of forms, like in the form of fuel wood, in the form of animal waste, and also in the form of agricultural residues. The agricultural residues, we are considering it as a traditional source of energy. So, these non commercial fuels are gradually getting replaced by variety of commercial fuels like coal, petroleum products, natural gas, and electricity. Now, out of total energy, commercial fuels account for 60%, whereas the balance 40% is coming from non-commercial fuels. So over here, if we compare the ratio, then the 60% is from commercial fuels and the 40% energy is coming from the non-commercial fuels. Out of total commercial energy produced in the form of power or electricity, out of which 69 is from coal, that is thermal power, 25% is from hydropower, 4% is from diesel and gas, nuclear power contribution is 2%, and less than 1% from non-conventional sources of energy. Like we know, the non-conventional sources of energy are solar, wind, ocean, and biomass. Petroleum and its products are the other large sources of energy. In a developing country like India, In spite of enhanced energy production, there is still a shortage due to increased demand of energy. In spite of the fact that there is a phenomenal increase or phenomenal hype in the power generating capacity, still there is 30% deficit of about 2000 million units. Hence, the policymakers are in the process of formulating an energy policy with the objectives of the first, ensuring adequate energy supply at a minimum cost, achieving self-sufficiency in energy supplies, protecting environment from adverse impact of utilizing energy resources in an injudicious manner. So, why there's a need to make policies? Or what are the objectives of these policies? That first we have discussed is ensuring adequate energy supply at a minimum cost. Then achieving self-sufficiency in energy supplies. Now, whenever we are utilizing the energy resources, then they should be in a sustainable manner, they should be in a judicious manner, and while using them, it should be kept in mind that we aren't harming our environment. The main features of this policy are accelerated exploitation of domestic conventional energy resources. Visualize oil, coal, hydro, and nuclear power. Intensification of exploration to achieve indigenous production of oil and gas. Efficient management of demand of oil and other forms of energy. To formulate efficient methods of energy conservation and management. Optimization of utilization of existing capacity in the country. Development and exploitation of renewable resource of energy to meet energy requirements of the rural communities. Organization of training for personnel engaged at various levels in the energy sector. Government private partnership to exploit natural sources of energy. Now here comes the renewable resources. In the previous lectures also we have heard this term many times. So renewable resources, in simple term we can say that the resources which can be renewed over a very short period of time. So the resources that can be replenished through rapid natural cycles are known as renewable resources. These resources are able to increase their abundance through reproduction and utilization of simple substances. Examples of renewable resources are plants, crops and forests, and animals who are being replaced from time to time because they have the power of reproducing and maintain life cycles. Some examples of renewable resources through they do not have life cycle but can be recycled are wood and wood products, pulp products, natural rubber, fibers. In fibers, it includes cotton, jute, animal wool, silk, and synthetic fibers, and leather. In addition to these resources, water and soil are also classified as renewable resources. Solar energy, although having a finite life as a special case, is considered as a renewable resource in as much as solar stocks is inexhaustible on the human scale. Now, non-renewable resources. Again, the term itself defines that the resources which are non-renewable, the resources which cannot be replenished or the resources which cannot be renewed in a very short period of time. The resources that cannot be replenished through natural processes are known as non-renewable resources. These are available in limited amounts which cannot be increased. These resources include fossil fuels, for example, petrol and coal, nuclear energy sources, example, uranium, thorium, etc., metals like iron, copper, gold, silver, lead, zinc, minerals and salts like carbonates, phosphates, and nitrates. Once a renewable resources get converted into non-renewable resources and if it is consumed, it is gone forever. Then we have to find a substitute for it or do without it. Non-renewable resources can further be divided into two categories: visualize, recyclable, and non-recyclable resources. Recyclable resources. Recyclable resources are non-renewable resources which can be collected after they are used and can be recycled. These are mainly the non-energy mineral resources which occur in the Earth's crust. Example, ores of aluminium, copper, mercury, etc. and deposits of fertilizer, nutrients. Example, phosphate stock and potassium and minerals used in their natural state like asbestos, clay, mica, etc. Non-recyclable resources. These are non-renewable resources which cannot be recycled in any way. Examples of these are fossil fuels and nuclear energy. Sources. Example, uranium, which provide 90% of our energy requirement. Use of alternate energy sources. As continuously in previous lectures, I have stated that whenever we are thinking about consumption of non-renewable resources of energy, because once the non-renewable energy resources they get exhausted or they get used completely, then it is very difficult to renew them over a short period of time, or it is impossible to renew them. So we have the need to find the alternate source of energy. Now, there is a need to develop renewable energy sources which are available and could be utilized very easily. For example, solar or wind, or the sources which could be created and utilized, like biomass. The main renewable energy sources for India are solar, wind, hydel, waste, and biomass. Biomass are resources which are agriculture related like wood, bagasse, cow dung seeds, etc. Now, from alternate source of energy, the first is hydel energy. India has a total hydro energy potential of about 1.5 lakh megawatt, of which only about 20% is installed. A small hydro plant potential is about 50,000 megawatt, and most of it is in the northern and eastern hilly regions. The second alternate source of energy is wind energy. The wind power potential of India is about 45,000 megawatt, out of which capacity of 8,748 megawatt has been installed in India till 2008. India is one of the leading countries in generating the power through wind energy. Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan are states having more than 5,000 megawatt potential each. These potentials could be improved if the technology of putting turbines in sea is embraced. There are wind farms on sea generating as high as 160 megawatt of power. Another alternate source of energy, which is the most important source of energy, is geothermal energy. The geothermal energy is thermal energy generated and stored in the earth. Thermal energy is the energy that determines the temperature of matter. Earth's geothermal energy originates from the original formation of the planet, 20%, and from radioactive decay of minerals, that is 80%. Geothermal power is cost effective, reliable also, sustainable, and most important, environmentally friendly, but has historically been limited to areas near tectonic plate boundaries. Few recent technological advances have dramatically expanded the range and size of viable resources, especially for applications such as home heating, opening a potential for widespread exploitation. Geothermal wells release greenhouse gases, which are trapped deep within the earth. But these emissions are much, much lower per energy unit as compared to those of fossil fuels. As a result, geothermal power has the potential to help mitigate the issue of global warming at a very serious level if widely deployed in the place of fossil fuels. Now, the next conventional source of energy is ocean thermal energy conversion, also known as OTEC. The ocean thermal energy conversion used the difference between cooler, deep, and warmer, shallow or surface ocean waters to turn a heat engine and produce useful work, usually in the form of electricity. A heat engine gives greater efficiency and power when run with a large difference of temperature. In the oceans, the temperature difference between surface and deep water is greatest in the tropics, although still a modest 20 to 35 degrees Celsius. It is therefore in the tropics that ocean thermal energy conversion offers the greatest possibilities. OTEC has the potential to offer global amounts of energy that are 10 to 100 times greater than other ocean energy options such as wave power. Now, another alternate source of energy is the biomass energy. Biomass is the oldest means of energy used by humans along with solar energy. As soon as the fire was discovered, It was used widely among humans mainly for the purpose of heat and light. Fire was generated using wood or leaves, which is basically called a biomass. The biomass could be used to generate steam or power or used as fuel. Power is generated using rice husk in Andhra Pradesh, while several bagasse based plants are there. India has a potential of 3,500 megawatts from bagasse. Other fast growing plants would be planned over a huge area so that it provides biomass for generating power. Organic waste such as dead plants and animal materials, animal dung, and kitchen waste can be converted by the process of anaerobic digestion or by the process of fermentation into a gaseous fuel, also called biogas. Biogas is a mixture of 65% of methane and of 35% carbon dioxide and may have a very small amount of hydrogen sulfide, moisture, and siloxanes. It is a renewable energy resulting from biomass. Biogas can be used as a fuel in any country for any heating purpose, such as cooking. It can also be used in anaerobic digesters where it is typically used in a gas engine to convert the energy in the gas into electricity and heat. Biogas can be compressed much like natural gas and used to power motor vehicles. Now comes another alternate source of energy is biofuels. India has more than 50 million hectare of wasteland which could be utilized for cultivating fuel plants. Jatropha is one of the options which can be planted on arid lands and can be used for production of biofuels. Now, the next is solar energy. India being a tropical country has potential to use solar energy on commercial basis. According to estimates, 35 megawatt of power could be generated from 1 square kilometer. With such potential, solar energy has bright future as energy source for the development of the country. Initial cost is the biggest limitation which has led to the low realization of its potential. For solar energy to become one of the front runner, it will require a lot of research and cheap technology and low capital. Now, problems related to the use of energy resources. First, fossil fuel. While using the fossil fuel, there are a lot of impacts of using fossil fuel on environment and of course on the human being. The first is the global warming. By continuously using the fossil fuel, we are contributing toward the rise in temperature which cause global warming. The second is acid rain. The third is dangers posed by leaded fuels, oil spills, water pollution caused by poorly managed coal mines, air pollution. Second, alternate energy resources. The initial cost of establishment of alternate energy generation is costlier than the conventional resources. The next is the maintenance of these structure is somehow very difficult because it requires more space. Energy supply is unpredictable during natural calamities. Now, growing energy needs. Why there's a enhancement in the needs of energy? Why energy needs are growing continuously? Energy consumption of a nation is usually considered as an index of its development because almost all the development activities are directly or indirectly dependent upon energy. Power generation and energy consumption are crucial to economic development as economy of any nation depends upon availability of energy resources. There are wide disparities in per capita energy use of developed and the developing nation. With increased speed of development in the developing nations, energy needs are also increasing. The very original form of energy technology probably was the fire, which produced heat, and the early men used it for the purpose of cooking and heating purpose. Wind and hydropower has also been used. Invention of steam engineers replaced the burning of wood by coal, and coal was further replaced by oil. The oil producing has started twisting arms of the developed as well as developing countries by dictating the prices of oil and other petroleum products. Energy resources are primarily divided into two categories: visualized, renewable, and non renewable sources. Renewable energy resources must be preferred over the non renewable resources. It is inevitable truth that now there is an urgent need of thinking in terms of alternative sources of energy, which are also termed as non conventional energy sources. It is unavoidable truth that now there is an urgent need of thinking in terms of alternative sources of energy, which are also termed as non conventional energy sources, which include solar energy. Solar energy needs equipments such as solar heat collectors, solar cells, solar cooker, solar water heater, solar furnace, and solar power plants. Wind energy, hydropower, tidal energy, ocean thermal energy, then geothermal energy, biomass, biogas, biofuels, etc. The non-renewable energy sources include coal, petroleum, natural gas, and nuclear energy. So, let's have a quick recap that what we have covered in this portion of Unit 3, Natural Resources, under which energy resources. So, first we have studied the energy scenario. After that, we have studied various policies, why there is a need to formulate the policies, what are the objectives behind these policies. Then we have studied the features of these policy, what is the motto behind these policies. Then we have studied the renewable resources of energy. Then we have studied the non-renewable resources of energy. Then we have discussed the recyclable resources and non-recyclable resources. Then we have studied the use of alternate energy resources and why there's a need to find the alternate of these energy resources. In the alternative sources of energy, we have studied the first, that is the hydel energy, the second, that is the wind energy, the third, that is the geothermal energy, the fourth, that is the ocean thermal energy conversion, also known as OTEC. Then we have studied the biomass energy, and then we have discussed the biofuel energy, and then we have discussed the solar energy. After that, we have studied the problems related to the use of energy resources. In that, we have gone through various kind of fossil fuels and alternate energy resources. Then we have discussed the growing energy needs. Now, in the next part of this lecture, we will discuss few of the case studies which are related with the various natural resources. Thank you.